They didn't teach us to be creative or artistic. I found this out because when I was in junior high, my teacher came to me and said, "You are an amazing writer." And I said, "Well, help me to be better. I want to be the best." And she said, "I can't. I'm not a writer. I am a reader, though, and I appreciate great writing, and you are a great writer." So that's when, and it hurt her feelings because she couldn't help me be better. But what she actually did is she bought me 2 years of a subscription to the Writer magazine. I mean, we were a poor farm family, and unless the magazines we brought into the house benefited everybody, Reader's Digest or National Geographic, we didn't get them. We didn't have the money to get them. So to have her put herself forward like that and afford to get me the Writer magazine because she knew I wanted to be better and she didn't have the skills to do that. I mean, I cried like crazy. I must have memorized every issue every month for 2 years. But that's just to underscore the fact that when we learned English in school, we learned to be technicians. We learned to be pleasant when we write. Not to throw people for a loop, you know, the grammar Nazis for a loop because you spelled something wrong. We learned to be pleasant. We didn't learn to be powerful as writers. So, what I'm going to talk about today is what does a copywriter know about turning browsers into buyers that your English teacher would slap you silly for doing. Okay? They taught us the techniques, but any good writer breaks the rules. They just know how to break the rules. Make sense? When writing web copy or content, you have just 8 seconds to rivet your visitors in place. 8 seconds. So I'm going to list some of the things. I'm going to let you know how to put your web visitors on the slippery slope that carries them along to the destination you want them to reach and the decision you want them to make. That's my job here this morning. Every time your visitor reaches the end of a sentence and sees a period, they have permission to leave. You know that. They have permission to leave. If the next word after a period piques your visitor's curiosity, they'll stay put. If not, sayonara. We're talking sales writing here. You want them to stay. You really want them to stay. You don't want them to just go, "Okay, fine, I'm done here." So, writing some subsequent sentences with and, but, if, unless, did you know, or there's more, our minds are insatiably curious. We can't just go, but what? We have to go, but what, or and what, or if what. Our minds cannot shut off. This doesn't mean you do every single sentence there with something like that because it would look really fake and false and phony. But your teacher would tell you, don't do that. You can't start a sentence with and or but. Yes, you can when you're a copywriter or if you're writing your own copy. Because your job is to keep them there. Your action line is probably down here somewhere. What you want them to do, you need to keep them there all the way. Using alliteration, weaving words into wealth, turning browsers into buyers, using cadence and rhythm, using metaphors, rhyming. Who doesn't remember, if you're old enough, you'll wonder where the yellow went when you brush your teeth with Pepsodent. Double your pleasure, double your fun, double good, double mint gum. Similes, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Metaphors, I am mayhem. And other clever tactics like that keep people trotting alongside you because they don't know where you're going, but they like it. Okay? So another thing you can do is you can use stories when you can. I started my presentation today with a story. People love and remember stories better than they remember facts, figures, or your talking points. So make sure make sure your copy addresses your target audience's pain, problem, or predicament. It shouldn't be about you. It should be about them. A lot of businesses go out of their way to say, "We're great." That's like walking into a department store and have a bunch of people wave a bunch of things. Buy, 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 buy. You need to be able to identify their pain, their problem, or their predicament and address it so that people go, "Oh, they get me. They can help me." Another thing that you can do that I had Pam send around a little homework for you. Another thing that you can do is focus like a laser on your one client with your initial offerings. The one most likely to whip out their wallet and help and buy from you because they help support the rest of your campaigns. He or she will help fund your additional outreach. Don't be a flashlight. Don't say, oh, my product or my service benefits everybody. You need to be a laser. You need to etch a permanent, unforgettable memory into your target audience's mind and emotions. A really, really brief, how much time do I have left?
I have 2 minutes.
Okay. Another a brief story that I told everybody who I've done a one-to-one with, but there was this gentleman who made an amazing app. I mean, it really was an amazing app, and it was for, essentially it was for anybody who had small children who, there are things we want to tell our small children, but we can't because they're too little. They won't understand. Or we might have a 12-year-old who thinks you are the dumbest walk on the planet, and they're not going to understand it until you're 22, okay? So he developed an app where you can either in video, audio, or in some other way, leave a message that will be delivered at a future date, even if you're no longer here. So I was all over this, and I said, who's your target audience? He said, everybody. And I went, no, not everybody. You need to target the people who every day when they walk out the door know they might not come back that night. Because, and it was only $10 a year, this app. I mean, who wouldn't whip out your wallet for, to do something like this? I said, you want to target first responders, policemen, firemen, military people. Every day they go out the door going, I might not see my child grow up. What do I need them to know? And he was just, no, it's got to do everybody. And I want it to be kind of a happy video. I want you to write me a happy video. And I said, you're missing the point. You're missing the target. You want to go to those people most likely to whip out their credit card and do for you, because you can always reach your other target audiences later on. Right now, what you want is money in your pocket. And then you can go and you can do that. Well, he fought me on it, and I ended up parting company with him because he just didn't get it. I mean, these people who are thinking, I'm not coming home tonight, possibly, don't want to hear the happy song. They want people to understand, I get your pain, I get your problem, I get your predicament. I get it, and I can help you. And there's no singing and dancing going on in a situation like that. So, are there any questions? Oh, I also have some leave behinds which I put on the table here because I wanted to give you, when I talked about your one target audience, I wrote some copy for a photo album company, and they wanted me to target a new bride who had, say, a bride a year later who hadn't yet taken her photos off her digital camera or whatever because she hadn't found the right photo album, or the husband, a year-old husband who wanted to give his wife something really, really special. They wanted the quality that the professional album people, sell you, but they're very expensive. And he's a discount wholesaler of really, really fine wedding albums, and he wanted me to target 2 different target audiences for landing pages. So I have put those there, and I think those are pretty good samples of the techniques that I just gave you, the alliteration, the starting a sentence with an and or a but, so that you can see how that is. It's a dance. You can't do too much of any one thing or it looks artificial. It has to look very natural, has to look conversational, has to look across the room from you. It can't look like it was, it has to look very natural. So I've given you a couple of samples of those. I also, toward the back, also did 10 things to keep in mind when hiring a copywriter and 5 ways to find a great freelance copywriter. And there are some frequently asked questions there too. For more information on how to write your own copy, you can go to my website, wordwhisperer.net, because I'm teaching people who can't afford a copywriter right now some of these techniques, way more than this, because I only have 8 minutes here. So, any questions?
So what would you say is your most rewarding experience in terms of copywriting for somebody?
I have to say the testimonials I get. Because when people hand me like their talking points, and I do something with them, and they just dance like little puppy dogs and dance up and down. One lady sent me about 3 paragraphs worth of something, and I distilled it down into about 2 lines. 2 powerful, absolutely riveting. And she said, "How did you do that?" And I did it because I love words. I know what can go. I know what can stay. I know what to add to be sure that those words do what they're supposed to do. God created the universe with His words.
Yep.
Words are powerful. They can absolutely, skyrocket you, or they can shoot you in the foot if you don't know what you're doing.
Who would you say is your best client?
Right now?
Not person, type of client. So if we were to
What's your
refer
target?
somebody to you.
I can tell you better who isn't. The more conservative, staid, if it can be on a brochure, anybody who, say, a banker. Banking is an industry where you get to go in, you get to talk to the banker, you get to talk to the person, you get to build a relationship. Your relationship is built across the table. So they can hand you a rather, I don't want to say boring, but
No,
a rather
boring's
just
okay.
point thing. This is what we talked about, this is the lead behind, this is what you can take home, because I didn't want you to have to
Right.
take notes. Here's the stuff. Here are the facts, features, and, But I love working with entrepreneurs, people who, if I can get drunk, like I've said this 100 times, if I can get drunk on your cork, I can write for you. Nonprofits, anybody who really is passionate about what they do, if I can get that passionate about it, I can write for you. So I don't want to, corral, because I did corral at first, and people would ask me to start writing things, and I'm going, oh, that scares me. I want you to do it, you're my writer, I absolutely know this and do this. And I did it, and they were totally happy. So I can tell you who real estate, insurance, securities, IT, fashion and style, you can see how fashionable I am. And none of tires, watches, those aren't my bag, but if I can get drunk on your cork and be as passionate as you are about what you do, I can probably write for you.
Chris, have you ever written for like short videos? Like if somebody wanted
Oh,
to do a
yes.
video for their
Oh,
business?
yes, I could have brought one, but there was no time. Yes. Anything else?
Okay, so let's open up the floor right now for testimonials, if you have any testimonials.
Oh, sorry. I'll save it. I was with Executive Women International